to make sure.
Hello and welcome into this week's edition of AFMC TV. I'm Michelle Rupp. Have you ever taken the back of your makeup or sunscreen and taken a look at the ingredients list? Ever wonder what some of those words are? Or better yet, what do they mean? What are you putting on your skin? Joining us today is our dermatologist, Rebecca Denniston. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So you work at Dermatology Group of Arkansas.
Yes, that's right.
And you're a PA.
Yes.
And so that gives you the credentials to talk about that ingredient list. Yes. What are we putting on our skins? We know we should be putting it on our skin, right, but what are we putting on our skin?
Yes, it's a great question. I feel like it's a hot topic right now. And really, a lot of it we don't know yet. There's a lot of studies being done currently. And so I think in the coming years, we'll know more about, what are the effects of certain things we're putting on our skin that's in our skincare. Yeah. But there are some things that we do know. And I think one of the big takeaways is that in the US, there really aren't a lot of regulations on ingredients in skincare products. Okay. In Europe, for instance, there's very strict regulations. So there's about 10 ingredients in Europe that are completely banned in skincare products, but they're allowed in the US.
Interesting.
Yes.
And unsettling.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so there's more studies being done currently in the US, and I think that, like I said, in the coming years, we're really going to know more on that. So,
is there any ingredient specifically that we should stay away from? That if we see it on the back of some packaging, it should maybe be a flag for us?
Yeah. So there's a couple that are currently being studied, in particular parabens. So parabens fall into the class of preservatives. A lot of companies are putting preservatives in their products to keep them fresh and lasting longer. And some of the studies are having some concern for potentials with hormonal issues with preservatives. Mm-hmm. And then another big one is formaldehyde. Mm. Believe it or not, formaldehyde is found in a lot of the things you use on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Your shampoo, your soap, your makeup, your sunscreen, all could have both of those ingredients in there. And so the long-term effects we don't really know yet, but I think there potentially could be some.
And are they going to be listed as a paraben, or will you see the word formaldehyde on the ingredient list?
Yes.
Okay.
So formaldehyde, yes, you're going to see that. Parabens are a little bit trickier. Now, a lot of skincare products will say paraben free.
I've noticed that, yes.
Obviously that's very helpful, but others don't. And so there's kind of two big ones that I see a lot, and they have long names. One of them is called methylchlorothiazolinolone. It's a mouthful. But that one in particular is a common preservative. And then there's another one called methyl dibromoglutanitrile. And it's also a very common preservative that you're going to see a lot in the things you use on a daily basis. So okay. I really think more skincare companies are going to say this is preservative free or paraben free, and that'll be very helpful.
Now, have you noticed anyone in the clinic that is coming in with any kind of reaction to some of these ingredients? Yes. And what would some of those reactions might be?
Definitely. So it's very, very common. It can happen in younger patients or older patients. And the theory is basically these companies are putting preservatives in their products, and we become sensitized to them and then allergic to them over time. So it might start off as just an itchy red facial rash. That's a lot of times what we're going to see. And so if you use a product and you get that, or maybe you use a product a couple times and then you get that reaction, then that's a red flag. You could be sensitive to something or allergic to something in that product. The tricky part is figuring out what it is. Mm-hmm. And so that's where patch testing can come into play. That's a common thing that we do, where we test you to basically every ingredient found in skincare products. And so that's a way to really narrow down what you could be sensitive to.
And let's take a moment and maybe put a little bit of a definition on skincare products. Are we talking about your creams and serums? Are you talking about mascaras and eyeshadows? Yes. What fits in there?
Really,
sunscreen?
Everything. So your makeup, of course, any type of lotion or serum, makeup remover, all those products are going to have some type of preservative in them typically. And sunscreen's a big one too. And, I've actually seen quite a few reactions to sunscreens already, this summer. And some of the big big takeaways for sunscreen in particular is staying more with chemical-free sunscreens. So there's a difference with sunscreen. You've got chemical and then you have physical blocking sunscreen. So physical blocking sunscreen, those are zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Those are the main ingredients. They physically block the sun. Those are going to be better for people with sensitivities or allergies. We do see quite a few allergies to chemical sunscreens, like oxybenzone, avobenzone, those type of ingredients.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
And what about makeup?
Yes. So makeup is interesting. There are very few brands that are completely like fragrance-free, preservative-free. The one thing I usually tell patients is mineral-based makeup. Yeah. That's going to typically be safer, less preservatives, and really good for people who have sensitive skin or allergies or just want a clean brand of makeup. Mineral-based tends to be better.
Okay. Anything else as far as ingredients that we need to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I think that the main thing is a lot of times what I see for patients that they first noticed is irritation around the eyes. And so the eyelid skin is one of the thinnest areas of skin on our face. And so a lot of times it's the first to react. So some people will think, oh, it's the, eyeshadow or the mascara I'm using, but really it could be anything that you're putting on your face. And so, if you do get that reaction, obviously stop the product and then, call your dermatologist and we'll figure out a solution. So.
Okay. And Becca, how can folks get a hold of you?
Yes. So at the Dermatology Group of Arkansas, and we've got 6 locations. And so we'd be happy to see you.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
And be sure and read those labels, right?
Yes, that's right.
Joining me now is Trey Reid from Arkansas Game and Fish. Trey, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited because we are talking about being on the water, but we're talking about canoeing, kayaking, paddling, all those things that you might not think about the Game and Fish Commission when you're thinking about canoeing, kayaking, and paddling.
Yeah, but it's actually a big part of what we do. We've talked about it before, and people think of Game and Fish as a hunting and fishing organization. And obviously that's our core constituency, or hunters and anglers, but we serve all Arkansans. And by calling attention to some of our waterways and getting people connected to that, it fosters a spirit of conservation. Makes people want to take care of our resources. So yeah, paddling is we've really gotten big into it over the last 10, 15 years.
Well, talk about any paddling programs or canoeing or kayaking programs that you guys offer.
Yeah, so we do a lot of stuff at our nature centers. We do like paddling 101, teach you, we'll actually put a kayak out, on dry ground and show you how to get in and out of it, or, how to steer a canoe, just how to make the paddling strokes and things like that. Now, some of our facilities, like at Fort Smith, our Arkansas River Valley Nature Center, there's Wells Lake is right outside the back door. So we can actually put you in a boat, push you off, and give you a life jacket and a paddle, and kind of help you get started. Another really cool program we have is the Arkansas Water Trails program. We have a watchable wildlife coordinator on staff, and one of the best ways to see wildlife in Arkansas is in a canoe or a kayak, because, unlike a motorboat or even when you're hiking, you're really quiet. You're just sort of slipping along. And we have a network of trails. The streams are kind of a natural trail anyway. So what we go out and do is, we have some signs giving folks directions, basically blue medallions that you'll find on trees to make sure you stay on the right path and things like that. We also have some maps that you can download and use on your phone, even when you don't have cell service, to follow some of these trails. We have them on lakes, so flat water. We have them on your traditional streams like, the Crooked Creek up in the Ozarks. And then also on some, what people might not think about as a paddling trail, some of our wildlife management areas in the Delta, on some slow bios and things like that. So really, really cool program that I would encourage folks to check out.
Let's talk about the exercise benefit and just being outside and all the wonderful things that can do.
Well, just being outside is a benefit to health. I mean, studies have shown that just being out there and enjoying nature, hearing birds sing, having that quiet, that solitude is really good for our mental and physical health. But then you get into the physical health benefits. I mean, paddling it's not sedentary. I mean, you're actually moving. You're getting some upper body workout. It is really great for core workout too. There's a reason they have rowing machines at the gym because they're great exercise. And so paddling can offer that too. But I would not underestimate the benefits of that mental health, of being out there in nature and really just kind of soaking it all in and having that quiet and that time to kind of reflect and reset the hard drive, if you will.
Yes, that is nothing like it. Nothing like it. So let's talk safety. What do we need to know before we go? Do we wear life jackets? I know in a regular boat you do, so I would presume.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely encourage folks to wear life jackets. You have to have one in the boat. It's a law. You're not required to wear it if you're over the age of 12, but wear it. I mean, especially on when you're floating a stream that has, some white water, and we're not talking about like the Colorado River out west, but we do have some streams that have some, current, some rapids, and sometimes you can get knocked out of, fall out of the boat or whatever, lose your balance. So wear that life jacket. I mean, they're very comfortable. They make special life jackets for canoeing and kayaking, so you can still lean back, and they're not as bulky. So do that. Always know the conditions. Paddle within your abilities. If you've never been on the water before, maybe don't go to the Cossatot River after a rainstorm, and be aware of conditions as well. Like if we've had a big rain event, may not be the best time for a beginner to get out. And again, sign up for a class. Game and Fish is not the only person that does these. The Arkansas Canoe Club and other organizations, some of the outfitters on some of our popular float streams will do classes where they can, teach you how to take care of yourself if you fall out, what to do, and how to do everything the right way in a safe way.
I would think that's the biggest takeaway is if you've not ever been canoeing or been paddling, get into a class before you get out on that water, and don't just go out on the water thinking, I got this. It's a canoe. I got this.
Right. No, absolutely. And unfortunately, I mean, there have been a number of, as canoeing and kayaking have really grown immensely in popularity over the past decade, there have been a few incidents where, people were kind of doing things outside of their ability or didn't know enough about the body of water they were on. We have some paddling that takes place on some of our trout streams that are subject to releases of water from the dams for hydropower generation. Yeah. And when that water comes up, it's a whole different ball game. And if you're 10 miles downstream, you're not going to hear the horn that they sound on the dam. So you just have to be aware of things. And again, know your abilities and learn what to do before you get out there.
Where can people go to paddle? Any stream they see?
There's so many places. Some streams are private, but sure. Many of our streams are considered navigable waters of the United States, and so they're open to the public as long as you stay below the high water mark. There'll be private property on either side of the river a lot of times. But the Buffalo River is probably the most famous stream in Arkansas. I mean, it was the nation's first national river, celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, established in 1972, and that should be on the bucket list of every Arkansan. Yeah. And people come from all over the country to experience that. The Washita River up above the lake is a great place over in the Mount Ida area. The Caddo River is another great one in the Washitas. The Kings River up in North Arkansas is one of my favorites, but we have so many. I would encourage folks to go to agfc.com, click on that Arkansas Water Trails link, and that'll show you some other places to go. Yeah, don't just think about like the whitewater streams, those mountain streams. There's a lot of other places, and even out like on the west end of Lake Maumelle, where the Maumelle River enters it. There's a great canoe and kayak launch that's part of the Sleepy Hollow access there, and you can paddle up and downstream on the river above the lake.
And down around Two Rivers Park, there's
another great water trail. Yep. Yeah, from Pinnacle Mountain State Park down to Two Rivers is a wonderful float that is literally 5 minutes really from downtown Little Rock.
Yeah, it's perfect to have it right here.
Yeah,
in the heart of the city.
You will never know that you're that close to the capital city of Arkansas when you're out there.
That's right. All right,
agfc.com.
All right, fantastic. Trey, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Michelle.
And thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you back here next week for more AFMC TV.